to account. Election 2019 on ENCA, South Africa's moment of truth.
Welcome back. Now, the arms deal is often touted as the seminal moment when post-apartheid South Africa lost its moral compass. It continues to haunt us as two organizations gear up for yet another long legal battle over the controversial deal. Corruption Watch and Right2Know have taken the first legal step towards challenging the findings of the Seriti Commission into corruption in the arms procurement contracts, which were finalized in 1999. The commission, set up by former President Jacob Zuma and overseen by Judge Willie Seriti, has been called a whitewash after it found there was no evidence of corruption in the multi-billion rand agreement. Now, no one has challenged the application as of yet, and if the two organizations succeed, it would have serious political legal implications. To discuss this case, I'm joined by anti-arms deal activist Terry Crawford-Brown from our Cape Town studio. And we also have one of the applicants, Corruption Watch Executive Director David Lewis, who is in studio with me. David, good to see you this evening. Let me start with you. Now, the former president, he was happy and accepted the findings as they currently are. What new information do you have as Corruption Watch and Right2Know that you've based your challenge on?
It's not new information. I mean, our challenge is based on the fact that we don't believe that the procedures employed by the Seriti Commission enabled it to come to any conclusion one way or another that was plausible. And certainly, you know, I've never heard of an arms deal that didn't have at least some corruption in it. This was an arms deal that was riddled with allegations of corruption. It seems hardly credible that there was a finding that there was no corruption, but it's explicable when you see the process employed by the arms deal, which the Commission, apart from ignoring evidence that was put before it, it never acted in an inquisitorial manner. It never went out and actually investigated what happened in the arms deal. Instead, the best that could be said about the Commission, and this is the very best, is that it treated it as an adversarial process where it heard things that were brought before it and it made a decision, and then it didn't hear the two sides very fairly.
Yep.
But it certainly didn't go out and investigate anything.
Okay, so now as Right2Know and Corruption Watch, what does it mean to you? What does it say to you when no one has challenged your application, no government department that you've cited in your application, nor the president, or even Judge Seriti himself?
Yeah, well, the respondents are the presidency, the president,
okay,
and the commission, Judge Seriti. The commission is disbanded, and I can't imagine that Judge Seriti would, in his personal capacity, want to challenge it. The fact that the president has not challenged it, the presidency has explained by virtue of the fact that this deals with procedural matters only, and that it's not really for him to defend procedural matters. The implications are significant because it means that the findings of the Commission that there was no corruption are set aside. It also means that anybody who relies on those findings, notably former President Zuma, to claim that he was exonerated by the Seriti Commission, and there are many others as well, of course, will no longer be able to claim that.
Okay, let me just go to Terry Crawford-Brown, who's in our Cape Town studios. Now, Terry, this issue has been going on for many, many years. Why has it not been put to bed? Is there political influence or other factors influencing the direction of this whole saga?
Well, there have been numerous attempts at cover-up since this saga started. In 1998, I learned that BA was laundering bribes through ANC members of Parliament ahead of the 1999 election. That then led into uproar in 1999, the JIT cover-up. So there have been numerous attempts to cover up. In 2008, BAE BAE's premises in Pretoria were raided by the Scorpions, who seized 460 boxes and 4.7 million computer pages of evidence. And plus there was evidence against the German Frigate Consortium and Submarine Consortium. So we went to the Constitutional Court in 2010 to say, given this huge volume of evidence, it's irrational and therefore unconstitutional for President Zuma to refuse to appoint a commission of inquiry. His counsel could not rebut that, so very reluctantly, President Zuma appointed the Seriti Commission in September 2011, but a few days before doing so, he told the ANC's National Executive Committee that he was going to lose the case I had brought, and therefore, to avoid being dictated to by the Constitutional Court, he would appoint a commission of inquiry in order to control it. So the Seriti Commission was a complete farce from day one.
Now, Terry, we're looking at so many commissions taking place at the present moment. Just how important is the arms deal in the national agenda at this very moment, heading to May the 9th as well? And also, we have to ask the question, what's in it for the ordinary South African?
Well, the country is focused at the moment on the State Capture Commission, and very rightly so, but it was the arms deal that started this whole saga of corruption, and it's multiplied hugely. It's very, very important that we deal with it, because it has really destroyed our constitutional democracy. And so if we want to get back to where we thought we were going 25 years ago, we've got to nip this in the bud and take appropriate action.
All right, I want to just come back to you, David. If you succeed in the Pretoria High Court with this matter, what next? What happens after that?
For us, Tony, the importance of this decision is that the court will make a determination on how commissions of inquiry are to be conducted and how they are not to be conducted. You know, South Africans have a quaint confidence in judicial commissions of inquiry, despite being disappointed by them time and time again. You know, I think there have been one or two, exemplary commissions, like, for example, the Nugent Commission, which really went out and dug out the evidence. And so we want the court to determine that how commissions of inquiry are to be conducted, and we want them to set aside the finding that there was no corruption, so that those who claim exoneration can no longer do that. But we've not envisaged action after that.
So, David, if you're successful, that means the whole thing is nullified. I mean,
the commission is
years,
nullified.
waste of resources, waste of so many,
Yeah, well, it's better than relying on a conclusion that it could not have arrived at. But we've always been worried that the public are not going to fully understand the purpose of this application, and the purpose of it is to make law.
Yeah. All right, Terry, I want to come to you in Cape Town. What does this mean now for the former President Jacob Zuma's case, going forward for him? Because when you look at, he had based this report in his bid to permanently stay his prosecution for corruption. What now for him?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
My question was, what does this mean now for former President Jacob Zuma? If, let's say, the Right to Know, they go and succeed in court because he, of course, had based this particular report on his bid to permanently stay his prosecution for corruption.
Yes. Well, I think it undermines that part of his argument dramatically. And in fact, when the People's Tribunal on Economic Crime held hearings at the Constitutional Court last year, one of the testimonies was that how the particular lawyer had accompanied President Zuma to Paris on 2 occasions to organize payment of a bribe as part of that cover-up. President Zuma, however, I have maintained all through this, is actually a rather small fish in this saga. He was not in national government at that time. The cabinet committee was headed by former President Thabo Mbeki, Joe Modise, Trevor Manuel, Aliko Owen, and the late Stella Sikau. And they were the ones who ignored the evidence from, for instance, the affordability study. There's a huge volume of evidence attached to that, which the Seriti Commission also attempted to bury. The Cabinet was warned in August 1999 that the arms deal was a reckless proposition that would lead the country and the government into mounting financial, economic and fiscal difficulties. And that's where we are at the moment, as evidenced by the State Capture Commission.
All right, thank you so much, Terry Crawford-Brown, who's an anti-arms deal activist, and David Lewis is still with me. David, I want one quick question, a yes or no answer. You believe that the inquiry chair he failed to look at all the evidence at his disposal. Do you think that was deliberate, yes or no?
I can't answer that, but he did fail to look at all the evidence.
Yes or no? All right. All right, thank you so much. That's the Corruption Watch Executive Director, David Lewis, chatting to us in studio. Stay with us. Still up ahead, WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange has been arrested after spending almost 7 years in asylum in Ecuador's London embassy. Assange is a polarized figure around the world, with some casting him as a hero and others, of course, looking at him as a villain. What if he's actually both? We discuss the consequences of his arrest and possible extradition. But first, let's take you to our international weather.